Well, ladies and gents, they finally got him. Yeah, after all this time, David has at long last been arrested. Hey you and welcome, guys. You know, and much like his classic hit, What Are You Waiting For? Nothing anymore is the answer to that. And he's now facing some pretty horrifying charges. Yeah, he's getting owned pretty bad by, like, the law.
Major breaking news now. Detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested singer David Burke for the murder of Celeste Rivas.
If the allegations are true, what he did to 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, absolutely horrific. And this is a truly disturbing case. In this little video, folks, we're gonna raw dog, you know, the charges that D4vd is facing. And they are pretty shocking and horrifying, to be honest, even to me. And not only that, the autopsy report has also been released, and the status hearing just occurred on April 23rd. And it all just makes a grim story more and more so. I mean, you probably could have guessed all that based on the initial video I made about David back in December, and you know, now that it's all kind of catching up to him, it certainly lives up to it. So let's give it a go. So if you'll remember, right, back on September 8th, 2025, the body of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, 14 years of age, was found in the trunk of an impounded Tesla. Her body was dismembered, and it appeared to have been in that trunk for some time. That Tesla then later linked to rising, super meteoric musician David. You know, truly on the rise of rises, he had the Fortunites, he had the Arcanes, he had the brand deals, he had the sold out tours, he had the yada yada yada. Like, the thing is, when the discovery of Celeste's body was made in his vehicle, sure wasn't David just about to start his sold out Withered tour? Which, I mean, I went through all this stuff when I covered the case back in December, but there was a lot of weird shit going on. Like, a lot of weird shit. I mean, the whole, vibe of the Withered tour was that it was a grave, it was a funeral, there was blood everywhere. He had this alter ego who was a serial killer. One of his most famous songs, Romantic Homicide. It's weird as shit.
It's been an ongoing debate here and across the country. It really comes down to whether an artist's lyrics can be perceived as a confession to a crime, or is it simply artistic expression. Either way, though, in this case, talking to attorneys, it seems like a judge will ultimately have to decide whether or not a jury will weigh those lyrics as evidence. So many questions this week surrounding the case against singer David. One of the top questions is, can David's lyrics be used as evidence for prosecutors in his own murder trial? LAPD chief discussing this topic on Good Day LA Wednesday.
It'll be certainly introduced, I'm sure, and that's something that will get attention during the trial.
The song and music video many have pointed to is Romantic Homicide.
Mighty weird. And then, digging deeper, David, 20 years of age when this all happened. Well, it seems like he had been in a relationship with that child. Uh-oh. Him and Celeste, it appeared, had been in a relationship for a few years. She had ran away from home on multiple occasions to be with him, and then tragically she was found in the most disturbing way.
On September 8th, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, Miss Celeste remains, her dismembered and decomposed remains were found in 2 bags inside of a front trunk of a car registered to Mr. Burke. Thereafter began an investigation.
Now, when I covered this story back in December, months after her body was actually discovered, there was nothing really going, right? A grand jury was formed to investigate. An executive from David's record label was called in to testify, and he basically gave them the finger. Like, this is definitely a case where I think a lot of us probably wouldn't have a very positive opinion of Los Angeles, Hollywood-type media executives. This case will not change that opinion. Some of David's family and associates were called to testify. Don't really know what the outcome of that was. Maybe there were some very incriminating witness statements, and this has all been going on in the background. However, that all takes us to now, April 2026. So, what just happened? Well, on April 16th, 2026, the LAPD posted this. Detectives from Los Angeles Police Department Robbery Homicide Division have arrested David Burke, a 21-year-old resident of Los Angeles, for the murder of Celeste Rivas. Burke is being held without bail.
It's going to obscure my view from the gate. The gate. You try to run or you try to resist, you won't get hit with my police door. You're going to hurt. I got you. If you try to run, we're clean out our premises and you won't get hit. I got you. All right, so the gate is locked. You want to open the gate? Sir?
People are actually able to capture his arrest on camera in the Hollywood Hills. He had not been seen pretty much since this case started. He had totally gone underground. He had been spending the last few months watching movies, if this Letterboxd account is his, as some online believe it to be. He gave the Thunderbolts 5 stars, but the Lobster only 3.5. What the fuck? Police swarmed his house in the Hollywood Hills and absolutely nabbed him. Taking zero chances here, ready to sick the dogs on him. David was booked into a South LA jail. He was arrested at 5 p.m, booked in at 10:12 p.m. David is in fact currently sitting in the Twin Towers Correctional Facility, that's unfortunately named, the same jail where Nick Reiner is being held. David is of course isolated away from other inmates because, well, you know. Oh, I suppose him being famous also has something to do with it. Now when this happened just on Friday, like just gone, David's attorneys, right, top dogs, if not big ones, they released a statement. As you can imagine, a guy arrested for a pretty horrifying murder, they released a statement saying, "You must be joking. Let us be clear." Okay, I'll allow it. The actual evidence on this case will show that David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. There has been no indictment returned by any grand jury in this case, and no criminal complaint filed. David has only been detained under suspicion. We will vigorously defend David's innocence. Now that would all change 3 days later, so I didn't actually press anything. I'll edit the sound in later.
Good morning. My name is Nathan Hochman. I'm the District Attorney of Los Angeles County. Today I am announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4vd, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances.
And then, on April 22nd, the autopsy of Celeste was released. The medical report, it's probably more horrifying than most of us thought it would be. Celeste indeed had been dismembered, her arms and legs removed. They had then been dismembered multiple times, her arms and legs chopped up repeatedly. She was in a strong state of decomposition when she was found. She had been there for months. Her left ring and pinky fingers were missing. The missing ring finger actually had David's name tattooed on it. I wonder if he kept that. It seems the actual cause of death were 2 stab wounds to the chest. The drugs tests were inconclusive due to decomposition, but I wouldn't be surprised. Likely she had been drugged and then killed. Another horrifying aspect is that neither of the 2 stab wounds were particularly deep. One was 1.5 inches, the other 2 inches. One to the liver, one to the lungs, so it may have taken a while to pass. Doesn't seem like a frenzied stabbing crime of passion. It just seems very, very calculated. And she was in an actual body bag in the trunk of the car. Her skull had been partially skeletonized, and she was missing an eye. Though that missing eye could have been due to decomposition. But pretty grim and very disturbing. What was done to her very high on the serial killer-ometer. The case was presented on April 20th, and David has now been charged with murder by the LA County District Attorney. They finally, after her body was discovered, 7 months after her body was discovered, they got that probable cause to arrest. So they arrest. The complaint, it's pretty shocking, to be honest, and it goes that on or about April 23rd, 2025, which is when Celeste's family reported her missing. Also, by the way, around the same time, April 2025, David allegedly took some mysterious trip into like the desert countryside, was there for a few hours, and then came back. And it's like, ooh, wow, what was he doing in the desert? That's still kind of a mystery to this day anyway. Now, the complaint about David states that the murder was intentional and was carried out for financial gain, was carried out because she was a witness to a crime, and was killed by means of lying in wait.
These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The determination on whether or not the District Attorney's Office will seek the death penalty will be made at a later time. I want to look at this as a parent. I am a parent of 3 children, and a parent's nightmare is a situation where your daughter goes out one night and never comes back.
Now, as you can see, the DA really got into it, talking about sexual acts with a minor, which we went through all of this on my first coverage. And let me tell you something for free. It's not a good look for David, what they were getting up to. Hanging out in very messed up ways with a child that was later found dismembered. I mean, at the heart of this entire story of David, Celeste was a child. She was a child. I mean, when you go back through it, she would have been like 12 years old when her and David started seeing each other.
There is physical evidence and there is forensic and digital evidence that we intend to present in court to prove these charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Now, the evidence he's likely talking about, probably some witnesses from those secret grand jury proceedings that were happening the last few months. Digital evidence? You don't gotta be a detective to see there was weird shit going on. And I mean, there were reports of farm equipment, like a burn cage, that was found in his home. Now, regarding why David did this, if he did do this, like a motive, we don't know. We may never know if there was a motive. But going by the murder with special circumstances that the LAPD are charging him with, it seems pretty dark. So it was carried out for financial gain. Okay, his career was on this like crazy rise. He had a lot of financial gain. I have absolutely no doubt about that. He was getting the brand deals, the sold out tours, the whole thing. Maybe. And this then links into the second special circumstance, which is, you know, that she was a witness to a crime. Perhaps David believed that word was getting out about their relationship, that he was going to be charged with, what's the word people use on TikTok when they don't want to say pedophile? Unalived or whatever. Well, maybe David believed that he was going to be charged with, you know, doing things you could kind of get away with in the 70s if you're the Rolling Stones. But it doesn't really fly today when your groupies are children. So if his relationship with Celeste was going to come out, maybe he was going to be charged, he would lose the brand deals, he would be, you know, cancelled, all his tours and all that. So there you go, that's a lack of financial gain if that all came out. She was a witness to him being in a relationship with a child because she was the child. Maybe she was going to go public, or threatening him that she would go public, or someone else was that we don't know.
The financial gain was for Mr. Burke to maintain his very lucrative musical career that Celeste was threatening on that particular night.
But he was allegedly lying in wait, that third special circumstance. So maybe he, like, lured her over, ambushed her, was waiting for her.
Lying in wait. That Celeste went to Mr. Burke's home on the night of April 23rd, 2025, as alleged in the complaint, at his invitation, and again, was not heard from again.
Thing is though, like again in my initial coverage of this story, it was like an open secret that they were in a relationship. I'm sure there's like 1,000,001 photos, videos, messages, witness statements about this. Probably 1 million people who could talk about this. And that's only one count of what he's now eyeballing. Count 2 equals on or between September 7th, 2023 and September 7th, 2024 in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of continuous sexual abuse was committed. David Anthony Burke did unlawfully engage in 3 or more acts of substantial sexual contact and 3 and more lewd and lascivious acts with Celeste, a child under the age of 14 years. And then to complete the hat trick, count 3, that on or about May 5th, 2025 in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of unlawful mutilation of human remains was committed. Will more people be charged with this? I'd be surprised if no, unless somebody has like an immunity agreement from all of those secret grand jury proceedings and was like agreeing to testify and about their relationship, about David dismembering somebody allegedly, you know, in return for not being charged with anything. That's possible, but I mean, David was like super famous. He had all these executives around him. He had this entourage around him. There's no way he could have done all of these things without people knowing about it. Dismembering a child. Someone for sure knows something. Knew something.
Calling People versus David Anthony Burke. That's case number 26 CJC F02399. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Burke. Enter a plea of not guilty, denying any and all special allegations, enhancements, and priors.
Yes, Your Honor. We believe the actual evidence will show David Burke did not murder Celeste Rivas Hernandez, nor was he the cause of her death. And we would like to be able to have the evidence come into the light of day at the earliest opportunity in order to establish that.
David has so far entered a plea of not guilty. No great surprise there. Now, the LAPD did hit back against all these complaints that they were getting. Why no arrests? What are you waiting for? Drop the donut, grab the David. And at the conference, they did have something to say. And fair enough, they did want to make sure they got their ducks in a row before they did anything. David will hire the best of the best lawyers. Sure, didn't his lawyers previously represent Mel Gibson, Britney Spears, and Harvey Weinstein? So you don't want to rush this or give anyone an easy way out.
This department has faced criticism for how we handled the case and for our decision not to provide details. I want to be clear about something. My duty is not to fuel speculation, it's to deliver justice, and that requires patience and discipline on everybody's part.
At David's arraignment on Monday, April 20th, a few hours before, a bomb threat was called into the courthouse. An anonymous person dialed 911 just before 11 a.m., making a threat to the Justice Center. There was an evacuation, the bomb squad arrived, a bomb-sniffing dog got to work, and nothing was found. David remained silent during the arraignment. It was also then that prosecutors revealed they have 40 terabytes of evidence to share with the defense. 40, that is that's a shitload of terabytes. And on April 23rd, 1 year to the day Celeste was last known to be alive, there was a status hearing, and another incredible fact about David came out. That was that on his iPhone, there was, quote, it was chock full of child's, CSAM. Not very surprising, seeing as how Celeste was a child. It's unclear if images and videos of her was the CP prosecutors were referring to. It was also reported that back in September, when this investigation started, police took 2 phones off him. They gave one back to him, but it was monitored. And God help whoever was doing the monitoring, I'm sure they saw a lot of sick shit. There have been rumors about David preying on other young girls, not just Celeste. And it seems like this could be, unfortunately, quite true. That he even bragged once about having hundreds of hours of footage of underage girls on his iPhone and his iCloud. And maybe that's where some of those terabytes are coming from. Allegedly, they have so much evidence the LAPD has been trying to upload their entire file over the last month or so, and only 30% has been uploaded so far, and that's using multiple computers. That is how much evidence, well, I mean, it's 40 terabytes. But that's how much evidence they have on David. Yeah, yikes. Good luck, buddy. They also said that just regarding David's iCloud account, which is where all of the, alleged CSAM is being held, that takes up 10 terabytes of space alone. I fear there's a lot more young girls there than just Celeste. He's been preying on these people for a while. Prosecutors also said that they have a large amount of data from a wiretap they presumably did on some of David's devices. Maybe conversations about the murder, maybe with the others who are likely involved. Probably speaking in code, but, well, actually David is such a narcissist, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he thought he was above any sort of, code. Prosecutors have said they want to go to trial within 60 days, which seems highly unlikely with the terabytes of information to go through. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot more to come, and likely a full-blown media circus trial down the line, but David could be facing life in prison or the death penalty. Now, the last time someone got the death penalty was way back in 2006, 20 years ago. And in 2019, Governor Newsom put a moratorium on executions. Executions got, executed. So it's unlikely that he will actually face the death penalty, but I mean, if I told his fans like a year ago that this was what he was facing, they'd probably shit themselves. Or they'd be like, oh yeah, we all knew he was, seeing somebody who was underage. Probably didn't expect him to, allegedly, dismember her. And that takes us up to date, anyway, now, this mid-April 2026, on the ongoing case of David. So keep an eye out for that one, muchachos. Oh, and before I go, you might have noticed, guess what? Old Mikey Moo is back in the void. This wasn't for shits and giggles, by the way, that I'm back here. I'm sort of in this ongoing kind of transition period, moving period at the moment. So my stuff is kind of all over the place. So the next few regular videos, Tuesday videos, will have the regular background, but then after that it'll be the void. For a while, I personally do prefer putting out more videos, 2 videos a week, which is kind of why, over the last 6 months there's been, a month or two of 2 videos a week and then it's 1 long video. But because I'm sort of like moving, it's kind of it makes it hard to, you know, be able to actually sit down and make content as often as I would like these short update videos. I would love to make more of these. Hopefully I will be able to soon. But that's just why things have been sort of like a little bit, or I felt things have been a little bit all over the place on that chapter lately, but should be ending soon. But anyway, the plan is like in the next month, I'll be back to posting a bit more frequently, which I love. So stay tuned. But sure, other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I love you. Mike out.